Hi everyone, James at Innotech Tech Talk, and I'm back again to continue on with the gaming computer build project that I'm currently working on. So the first part, if you've watched it, I basically unboxed the case, or the computer case that I'm going to be using, and kind of went over the benefits of using that case and why I liked it, so on and so forth. I actually just uninstalled these little 120 millimeter fans that came installed on it because I bought some other fans that I'm going to use instead. And it's not because I think that these are poor quality. I just I wanted to use a set of fans that I like instead of what came pre-installed on it. You'd probably be just fine using these, so that's enough about that. And so the second part of this, I'm going to install the water block. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a liquid cool system here, and this is a sealed unit, so I'm not going to have to, cut any tubes or anything like that, or do any leak tests. This is all a sealed package, maintenance free, and it is the Corsair H-100i. So it's a 240 millimeter radiator block, and it does a really good job from all the reviews I've read of keeping your system cool. I might do a small overclock, so I decided to go with liquid cool on this build. Plus I like that it kind of unclutters the motherboard area and allows for better airflow through your system. Instead of using a gigantic heat sink coming off of your motherboard, to keep your processor cool. This is, a really small radiator, or a really small cooling block that attaches to your processor. So let me go ahead and unbox it. Get ready to install it in the system. So you can install these one of two ways. It comes with two 120 millimeter fans, and I'm not going to use those. Like I said, I bought my own fans to use for this. But you can do just two fans, or you can do four fans, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do a push-pull configuration where I'm pulling in air from the outside of the case, and then on one side of the block, and then I'm pushing it away from the block on the other side. So that's basically how I'm going to do the install. And here's the actual cooling unit itself. I'll take it out of the package here in a second. And here's the two Corsair branded 120 millimeter fans. I'm going to set those aside for a second. And these are the Y-splitter power cables, because basically what you do for this is one end plugs into the actual processor cooling block itself, and it gets its power to the fans from there. But there's Y-splitter, so you can plug two fans into one cord, and I like that because it keeps everything kind of neat and tidy and uncluttered. In here are the mounting brackets for your different chipsets, or not chipsets, your different socket types. So I'm using a Intel Core i5 3570K, and that's a 1155 socket type. So I'll look at the instruction manual and see exactly which bracket I need to use for that socket type. So yeah, so that, when you're going to pick out these products, if you're going to go pick out stuff for your own build, you got to keep that in mind. So I'm using the LGA 1155 socket, which happens to be pretty common if you're using a Core i processor, so like Core i5, Core i7s, and that would be true for like Sandy Bridge and the new Ivy Bridge processors that are out right now. I'm not sure about the newest line of processors that they're going to be releasing this summer, but for right now, LGA 1155, that's what I'm using. So I have this little piece of foam that I use to kind of set my stuff on so it doesn't get all scratched up or dinged up or anything like that. take this out of the package here. Okay. So here's the actual cooling block that sits on your processor. Let me try to zoom in here a little bit. Oh, that was zooming out. And as you can see, they already put a thin layer of thermal paste on there. But I've never been a really big fan of factory installed thermal paste. I think that that's one area that a lot of manufacturers go wrong, and they try to cut costs as going with a cheap thermal paste. I could be wrong on this one, I don't know, but I'm an info security guy, and I'm always of the mindset that you hope for the best but plan for the worst. So with that in mind, I have purchased my own thermal paste, and it's a thermal paste that I haven't used before. I typically go with a Arctic Silver, so I am taking a little bit of a risk here. But it's made by Antec, and it's the Antec Formula 7 Nano Diamond Thermal Compound. Sounds pretty fancy, huh? So apparently this has some kind of a, let's see, diamond particles in here. Wow, my case is going to have some bling that I won't be able to see. But let me go ahead and zoom in here. But, as far as diamonds are concerned, they are really good at heat dissipation. They can handle a lot higher heat than most other materials, and they're non-conductive unless you're using blue diamonds. But I'm sure they're not using blue diamonds here. So yeah, I think this will end up working out pretty good, and I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of a risk. I think it's not as much of a risk as trying to use this thin strip of thermal paste that's already installed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video for a second so I can clean this thermal paste off that's already on here, and then I'll continue with installing the radiator block into the computer case.